today's topic, which is forgetting the former things. Now, you know, most of the times as Christians and as human beings, we are so much held back by past events, and we are so much stuck at how things used to happen in the past. And that works against us. Why? Because then we are stuck in a desert, a place where you feel lonely. You know, a desert. Picture yourself in Sahara or Kalahari or whichever desert, Antarctica, you know. It could be cold or very hot. But let's talk about the hot desert instead. That's what I'm familiar with. Sijafika huko North Pole. So, si ati nimefika Sahara, but I have some, you know, information about it. It's huge, it's dry, it's full of sand, it's hot, and if you go there, you might lose your way and you get fatigued and thirsty, because unless you meet an oasis somewhere, hakuna maji, and unless you carry your own, you are going to be parched and things will go wrong for you. And that is the same case that happens if you are in a desert, a spiritual desert, or whatever kind of desert, you know, physical, emotional. If you are in such a desert, you will be fatigued, you will be hot, and not hot in a good way, and you will be lost and parched. You'll be very thirsty. There's something that you are longing for. There is that place that you want to get to, that fertile land, that oasis, somewhere you're going to get a shade or a home. You want to go home when you're in a desert, I believe. For those people who are traveling across such deserts, it's mainly because of business or touring the areas, and when they get home, I believe they feel a form of relief. And for us, as children of God, our home is in the hands of God. That is where we want to get to, because right now, we are parched. And according to the verse in Isaiah chapter 43, the Lord is saying, I am making a way in the wilderness. Now, wilderness, hakunanga tu barabara ati nini, because of some winds that bring the sand and they cover those pathways. And sometimes even the guides themselves, wale watu ambao wanakupeleka huko trip, they get lost because at some point, ile barabara walikuwa wanajua haiko tena. But now the Lord is saying, I am making a way in the wilderness, in verse 19. Yeah? Something that seems impossible. Last Sunday we were talking about miracles, and God is still performing miracles. Now, remember the children of Israel when they were, you know, crossing the Red Sea. And Moses was asked to, you know, raise his staff like this, and the waters split. Sawa sawa. And so there was a way, dry land in the sea. Okay? Hakukuwa na tatu matope. It was dry land. When the Bible speaks of dry, haisemi kulikuwa na matope, walikuwa na huko ndani. No, it was actually dry. And so the water stood as walls on both sides. Now that is the same God who is saying He is making a way in the wilderness. Now you can trust Him to make a way in that season that you're in that situation, in that anger, in that pain that you are going through, because He is able to do it. He is also saying, making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Now, there is a difference between these two, and there's a similarity as well. So there is a desert, wilderness, and a wasteland. A wasteland is some place where waste is thrown. Let's talk of a sewer, a sewage somewhere. So hapo, you do not expect to find any fresh water. But instead, He is saying He is making streams. Now, a stream is a place where you get some very fresh water. Have you ever been to any stream anywhere? Please go and visit. Utaona uko ndani ya maji, very fresh, very clean. And you can only wish to take a drink from such a stream. Now, if this God is able to do this, yeah, if this God is able to make ways in the wilderness and streams from wastelands, what can't he do? What can't he do? Now let's look at the three scenarios that I had earlier mentioned. This woman whose husband has cheated on her, and now she feels she cannot give love another chance. It's because her mind is clouded by the fact that this man did not love me for who I am, did not take me for who I am, did not actually mean the words that he told me. And so that brings a lot of pain and anger that blinds her from seeing who she is in the eyes of God and seeing that this man is actually human. Okay? And he is also in the process of being mended by God himself. So instead of praying for him, she resorts to moving away and walking out of her marriage. And that has happened so many times, and we have experienced it in our society. It has become the norm. Why? Because we want to follow our own ways, our own knowledge. Mimi haizi nifanyie hivyo, mimi hawezi. So you listen to what other people have said, their experiences and all that, you get stuck in that. Instead of looking at what God is planning ahead. Now, in this case, I'm not talking about girlfriend, boyfriend. I'm talking about husband and wife. These are people who have been joined together. So marriages are breaking because of that thing. I won't say simple. It's not simple. It's very hard because this is a person that you had planned a life with, and then you realize it was all a lie. So therefore, you are supposed to ask God to open your eyes to see the way that he wants you to follow. Sawa sawa. He is doing a new thing. He is doing a new thing, and you have to trust him to do that. Jambo Jipia, even the song that Nyasha sang as the show started. Make sure that you go and listen to it again. It's very deep. He is doing a new thing in your marriage. What about those siblings that no longer talk to each other? And it is very common, very common. Huwezi sema hujaisikia, it is very common. There are some people in families that if there is a family gathering, they won't go there because they feel, Asha, it's not going to happen. I cannot be in the same room with my brother. Vile alinifanyia, vile tuli, I cannot. Because of businesses, mostly because of money and land. He took my piece of land. He took nini. Remember the story of the prodigal son. Now this guy was very arrogant, very rude. He went to his father, took all that he owned, and then he left. And then he came back. Do you think the brother was happy? Do you think he was happy? Of course not. He even went to his dad and told him, I have been here my whole life, being obedient to you. I have served you like your servants. I have done everything na hata hujawai nichinjia. Even a chicken, that kind of complaint. But yes, it happens even in today's life. And what about that young lady who might have had an abusive childhood? Mtu ambaye kwao, she was always beat up and sent out, or he was always abused, by her own or his own parents. People that you should run to for comfort and security and protection and all that are the same people who are throwing you out and do not want to hear anything about you. I think there's so much pain that people hold in their hearts, and rightfully so, because they would expect to be treated better. And when they grow up, they end up transferring that kind of pain to anybody that they meet. Hurt people, okay? Watu ambao wameumizwa huwa wanaumiza wengine. Therefore, they cannot have a peaceful encounter with anyone that they meet. They are all blinded. You can imagine what that kind of thing would do to a society, from your home to your neighborhood, to your churches, to your community, to the entire country. That is why there is so much chaos, so much tears being cried out there because of pain. Yeah, because of where, the sources of all that. But the Lord is telling us today, we have to forget the former things. Now, the things that have already happened in the past are what made you stronger and able to be where you are right now. But kindly note that you have nothing that you left back there that is going to help you to move forward, or you are going to use in the times to come. No, this is not the supper or dinner that you made last evening yenye unaona after today's show naenda kula, because that is the plan I have. But yeah, this is not food. These are things that already happened and there is nothing you can do about it. But there is something you can do about the future.